Alright, what is up, guys? I don't really know what to say. So, video is going to be on all the stuff SDF's been yapping about and kind of like the direction he plans on moving the game, just based on, some of the stuff he said in here, slash test server changes, stuff like that. And one thing that I will say is I'm sure a lot of you have been wondering where it is or like why I haven't done it. The not like this video, the one that guy made like what, like a day or two ago, on all the Iron Mace stuff, everything like that. I'm not gonna respond to that. I'm not gonna make a video on it, mainly because I don't care about watching it. Basically, I don't. It's like an hour and 20-minute video. Um, I've heard bits and pieces of it, and I mean, I'll probably make a comment on it, but for the most part, I will say I don't think there's anything worth talking about this game on. I mean, I can. There's not anything legitimate that you can talk about for an hour and 20 minutes in this game, and he says he cut like another hour out of it, and there just isn't enough, right? Like, I mean, I could make an hour-long video, but I know half my video is waffling. Like, I just like hearing myself talk. That's why I do it. I don't make the videos because, I have a bunch of valuable information to give. I mean, sometimes I do, but those videos are usually not an hour long. It's funny, my videos that are like, shorter, like the 10, 15 minutes ones are usually the ones that have the more valuable information rather than just me just waffling. Like if it's a 20, 30-minute video, like I'm just fucking talking to talk at that point. But any point, yeah, like, so I mean, the thing is, like I said, what I've heard about this video, like, there's like streamers under NDAs and they're getting paid by Iron Mace and stuff like that, and it's, I mean, it's not like, I don't even see why that's so bad. For one, I am not a streamer under NDA. I think anyone could look at the way I've talked about it and assume Iron Mace doesn't really want to, you know, um, I don't know, fraternize with me, I guess. Like, I'm not even a balladeer or a troubadour in their Discord, so I'm not affiliated with them anyway, other than I just play the game. But, I mean, who cares? Like, if streamers are getting money from them for playing the game, like, great. Good for them. Like, is it really that big a deal? No. And then, the thing that I found really, really funny about the video that somebody told me, was that he was complaining about Twitch drops, and his like the whole thing he was saying, right, was like that they were like playing like favoritism or whatever. They were giving like Twitch drops to like their preferred streamers, but he specifically notes that they gave Twitch drops to me instead of him, which immediately just throws up the explanation of clearly they are not just giving Twitch drops to their favorite streamers because they gave it to me, right? Like, if it was only the favorite streamers, I never would have got day one Twitch drops. And then you look at people like Pashi, Solar Bear, neither of those got day one. Like, the people they gave day one Twitch drops to were the people that have been streaming since playtest slash early access that were all relatively popular. And I mean, I was one of those, and that's why they did it. But anyways, yeah, I just thought I really thought the whole thing was funny. Like I said, maybe there is some useful information in his video. I'm sure there is. For the most part, though, I really just don't care. Right? Like, I really, really do not care about that video, and I just have no intention. Like, I would react to it if it were an hour and 20 minutes. Like, I would watch some of it and listen to it, but I'm not going to watch a 80-minute video just so I can make my video off of it. I do not care that much. I mean, maybe I'll, find, like, a TLDR, and then I'll, like, talk about the TLDR and, like, spread misinformation or something, but, yeah. As for accurate reactions, there's not going to happen. So, SDF, he's been waffling a lot in here, talking about a lot of stuff, like gear, the game, like getting players, like all of this stuff. There's like a lot of stuff they've been talking about. I'm not going to read every single thing in here, because I just don't care. Most of it isn't relevant to what I'm actually going to be talking about here. But if you want to listen, there's like some interesting things, like where they talk about like, there have been bugs caused by recovery systems. Like, basically they talked about, how them continuously adding stuff like just led to them never building a stable foundation, and it added a bunch of random bugs, like whenever they update the game and marketplace breaks even though they didn't do anything in the marketplace, stuff like that. Yeah. And then, like he says, like, even within our team, there are many people with completely different playstyles. For example, I prefer to be a hardcore PvP player, though I often lose, and mainly play in trios, never playing solo. In contrast, Terry, although it wasn't the case in the past, has recently come to form more relaxed PvP. Since we have quit the game at any time, he avoids team play to prevent inconveniencing others, and mostly prefers to play solo. Stuff like this. Like, there is, to be fair, I think actually a lot of valuable stuff in here. I think there's a lot of good information in here, that is actually very insightful into the game. However, what I really want to do is find wherever it's at, to where it talks about gear, because I think gear is where, um, it's quite important. Gear plus the changes to queue sizes. So he's right here. He starts talking about focus on changes made to that server. So he says, then, let me start by talking about the removal of adventure mode and the ongoing squeezing of party types. So if you don't know, adventure mode is not available in test mode on test server. The PvE mode is adventure mode. It's not available in test server. He says, what I'm aiming for in dungeon gameplay is a sense of naturalness. I often imagine what it'd be like if we were truly adventuring in a medieval fantasy world. How do we appear inside of a dungeon? In such a world, it would be natural to see adventurers with different goals and groups of various sizes. Of course, a real medieval fantasy world doesn't exist, so we can only experience it through creative works like, okay, who cares? From that perspective, the existence of a dungeons limited to PvE only, or item brackets meant to reduce gear differences, or requiring fixed party sizes like a solo, duo, trio to enter the same dungeon without any kind of special magic or justification feels very artificial. See, this is what's stupid. This is what's stupid to me. The thing is, like, you could vary, like, this right here, like, you're making a game. If this is what you care about, you could make the special magic or justification. Like, whenever you click on the PvE dungeon, or the whatever gear bracket dungeon, like, warning adventure, there's a special magic at work here that won't let you bring in weapons that are too powerful. Who just invited me? Sebastian. Screw you. Bruh. Turn friend party invites off. Okay. Okay. Wait, did I turn friend invites off too? Bro, he's DM'd me on Discord now. I'm not replying to him. Anyways, back to where I was. Like, ha ha ha. Former Iron Mace employee, by the way. Anyways. Okay, where was I? So, this, like, thing. It's like, you could easily make this justification. And you could say it feels artificial. Well, yes, you literally made a game. None of this is real, brother. Like, it's a game. It's all artificial. So, like, this logic is stupid to me. Like, if you want the justification or the kind of special magic that makes this, then just make it in the game. You have the ability to do that. Just say you don't want to, right? Like, just say it. That's... And he says right here, that said, it's true, we don't actually live in that world, so at times, artificial adjustments can make the game more enjoyable, and we decided to explore that direction. Like, good. Like, anything you want to have in the game or be explained by in-game means, you have the ability to do that as the person making the game. And he says, for example, when we chose to add the Goblin case for solo players, we could also have pursued a version that supported mixed party types, but we were also genuinely curious about the potential of solo gameplay. Adding a solo queue and dedicated dungeon was something we could move forward with quickly, and in many ways it was an attractive option for us. So now this right here is what I wonder, right? This is curious to me. Adding a solo queue and a dedicated dungeon was something we could move forward with quickly. In many ways, it was an attractive option for us. So, why were they able to make this dungeon so fast? Like, because, like, not only are you adding a new queue type, you were deciding to then build an entire dungeon for them. And to be fair, it was only a 3x3. It was only 9 modules as opposed to their normal 25. But still, this is, I mean, this is pretty insane because they built this from playtest 4 to playtest 5, right? I think that's what it was. Or was it playtest? I think was it playtest 4 to 5 or 3 to 4? I don't know. But anyways, they built this entire dungeon in a span of a few months tops, while also working on other classes, weapons, all types of stuff for the game. So why is it back then they were able to do this? And keep in mind, much, much smaller team then. Much smaller team. Like, probably less than half of the current employees they have working at Iron Mace right now. Why is it they were able to make this dungeon so fast with for solos, but nowadays we are taking literally, upwards of half a year to a year to get more real content? Like, the last map that came out was Ice Abyss, and that came out, what, 3 wipes ago? So that came out unironically like a year ago at this point or something? I don't even know when. Like, we haven't got a map in that year? I mean, I guess, what, reworked Ruins maybe? But still. Like, the question is why? How was this done so fast? Anyways, but Both the players and our team enjoyed this direction for a while. However, as time went on and we tried to expand it further, we began to see some side effects emerge. There were class balance issues specific to the solo queue, like with Druid. Teaming became a frequent issue, and because we limited solo play to just Goblin Caves, we never built each dungeon with tailored versions for solo, duo, or trio play. This created friction when players tried to engage with content in ways it wasn't specifically designed for. See, this is the point. Like, this right here, like, this is the thing, though. It's like, yes, if you are not designing it to be played as solo, duo, or trio, it shouldn't be played as that. Like, for example, recently, I know a big debate, you know, because, like, a lot of people are like, oh, we want to keep solos and everything. And, like, you know, an option that people have considered is would just take solos back to the Goblin Caves. Take it back and lock it on Goblin Caves. It used to be that way. Problem was, and I mean, if you guys have been around long enough, you remember, all those solo players that played Goblin Caves hated their map because that was the only map they could play. So like, oh, we want to play other maps. We want to play other maps. You know, let us play Crypts. Let us play Ice Caves. Whatever. That's what they wanted to do. So eventually, after they complained enough, they opened up all the maps, and that's when map rotation was first added in, so people could play on other maps. And this is where, you know, this right here happened. Like, if you never did that, this never would have happened. Because players wouldn't have been engaging with content they weren't designed for. They wouldn't have been doing solo Lich. They wouldn't have been doing, like, you know, solo, whatever, Ghost King, stuff like that. Like, but the reason I'm saying this is because now people are like, oh, we'll just make it so every, like, solo's locked back to Goblin Caves. It's like, okay, that is a solution, albeit temporarily. Because what's going to happen is you do that, and then 3, 4, 5 months, however long down the line, people are going to be complaining again, oh, wow, we don't want to play this map. We want to play more maps. We don't want to just play Goblin Caves. We shouldn't have to be in a trio to go play Crypts. We shouldn't have to be in a duo to go play Ice Caves. That's what's going to happen. How do I know? Because it already has happened once. And if it's happened once, it's going to happen again. Because right now, you know, the alternative is it's gone entirely. And that's a pretty appealing thing. Like, oh, well, if, you know, we can keep it on Goblin Caves, we'll still be able to play it. It's not gone entirely. But in a few months, when the threat of solos being removed doesn't exist to you anymore, you're going to go back to complaining about wanting to be on other maps. That's just how it happens. That's just how it works. I know it's going to happen like this, like I said, because it's already happened once. Anyways, that's not what this video is about. And it said, all this began to interact with gear brackets we had introduced to arrest gear disparities, and at some point everything started to turn into spaghetti. Yep, spaghetti code. That's when I realized something important. We simply couldn't maintain or meaningfully improve all of this in a sustainable way. You should have realized this a long time ago. The cost of trying, testing, and supporting all these parallel systems was eating up too much of our actual development capacity. I'll say, I feel like this to me really, really feels like a cop-out, like, thing to say. The testing was entirely on you guys. You guys have tested stuff numerous times that no one has asked for that you think would be good that no one cared about. Ever. Right? And for the most part, like, trying and supporting, like, you really haven't done much to say that. Like, you have not done a lot. Like, I mean, I don't think I'm in the minority when I say this. Like, I don't think I've seen them do enough to say that it is eating up too much of their actual development capacity. Like, I don't think I've seen enough change in this game to ever say this. Like, if you are telling me that it is taking, you know, a significant portion of your developer's time to try to balance this game, and then when a patch comes out, all it is a slight adjustment to a skill that was adjusted the week before, and like 2 weeks before that, I just can't help but feel like you're just lying to me. I just feel like you're lying. Also, like, oh, this is another really good one. To give one example, when building PvE dungeons, we had to audit every class ability to ensure nothing would disrupt the PvE experience. Even with that effort, we missed things. We couldn't deliver it perfectly, and even now it still isn't perfect. And he's saying this is one of those things that took up a significant amount of their actual development capacity. Like, man, I could literally sit down, go through every single class, and tell you exactly how they would break the dungeon in PvE in probably an hour or two. Max. I probably could do it faster. Maybe and if I did it in like 2 or 3 hours, I wouldn't miss a single thing. I could almost guarantee you that. But there are so many obvious ones, right? It's like, oh, okay, we have to make AoE skills not affect enemies. You have to make things like, you know, Treant not have collision. The roots from Druid, it can't root people. Walls can't block people. Stuff like that. It's so easy. So easy to just look at and see as long as you understand this game. I don't even think I'm not even saying this like a thing that like, oh, I'm insane. I think just most players could do this because most players have common sense. Like, you just cannot tell me that this right here was eating up too much of your development capacity for multiple people. If this took more than one guy, Like I'll even be crazy and say like 2 or 3 days, then you guys are just doing something terribly, terribly wrong. Like, you really need to look at the people you have hired if this is something that is taking too much time for you guys. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. This is something that literally should take a matter of a few hours, especially if you have several people working on it. This should not be that difficult at all. Now, as to, and that's just for going over them. When it comes to actually rebuilding the systems where, oh, Savage Roar doesn't affect enemies in the PvE mode, or stuff like that, like, maybe that took a little bit longer. I don't know. I don't know how the coding works. Or things like that. Or, like, make it so it's disabling damage. I don't know. Maybe that took some time. But actually, as for trying to find the issues with the characters themselves, that should not have taken very long. So, I said, so I've decided that, at least for the time being, it's better for us to reduce the number of things to manage and focus our energy on what truly matters. I'm sorry. So, also, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but based on what I said, like, it really sounds like they plan on removing PvE. Like, I hope they don't, but it sounds like they plan on removing the adventure mode from the game. And, I mean, that just sounds like, surely they wouldn't do that. That is what I will say. Surely they wouldn't. And I mean, I get it, you want to reduce the queues, but the problem with this is the people that are playing PvE, if you remove PvE, they're not going to play the game, I don't think. Like, they're playing PvE because they don't want to play PvP. So if you remove PvE, those players are going to quit. Removing solos, duos, or trios or whatever, those players are going to migrate to other queues for the most part because they still want to play the game. But PvE players are there specifically for PvE. Like, they're not playing anything else. Also, moving on. For the time being, I plan to explore a direction where players with different goals and party types can coexist within the dungeon. Some of you may remember our previous test in High Roller mode where we removed name tags from party members. That experiment moved in the opposite direction of making trios easier to coordinate. It was ultimately an attempt to see if we could naturally reduce the advantages of trio play so that various party types could more comfortably coexist in the game. See, like, the problem with this is, like, I know this was a Tarkov thing, right? Grayson is a big Tarkov player. I know he, I know he loves that game, and I know he likes to try to take a lot of ideas from there. That doesn't work in this game. Because it doesn't matter, like, in, like, a game like Tarkov or something, right? Like, as a solo player, you always have impact potential because you could just, like, randomly, like, you could catch somebody off guard and, like, 1 or 2 tap them, with a good, like, shot to, like, the head or chest or whatever. I don't play that game. But in a game like Dark and Darker, if you are a solo player in this dungeon and you queue up, you will not kill, like, a decent team 99% of the time by yourself. It doesn't matter if they're name tags. You're just not going to kill them. It just physically does not work that way in this game. And it's not even, like, on one level, yeah, like, it's, because, like, they're people with really good gear, it's really hard to kill them, but it's not even just a gear thing. It's just, you just physically can't do it. People play too close together that you just do not have the potential to do that. Like, in something like Tarkov, for example, like I said, like, you can see people and, they can be right beside their teammate and you could shoot him in the head and kill him instantly and his teammate can't really do anything back to you. And maybe, maybe he can, but chances are he won't really have a chance to do anything back to you. In this game, you can't do that. There is nothing in this game that kills that fast that gives you potential to do that. Maybe like a crazy geared windlass crossbow ranger, right? Maybe you, like, pop out, shoot a squishy and one tap them. Even then, chances are they're just going to grab their gear and go res them, and you will not stop them. Or you're just going to end up dying. Solo play into trios just doesn't work. Like, you are never going to kill a trio. It's not even about, like, the gear either, like I said. Like, on one level, yes, like, the gear makes them harder to kill, but at the same time, having better gear makes it so you can kill them easier. If we normalize the gear, like I'm going to talk about here in a minute, like they do on test server, that just makes it harder for you as well. But yeah, like, this is just this is just this doesn't work, right? Like, that's the problem. This doesn't work. It really doesn't. Moving on though. As for supporting well-organized trios and improving their experience, I'd like to explore features like enhanced in-game communication tools, better ways to find players with shared goals and language preferences through the Gathering Hall, and faster ways to connect with teammates through a guild system. Yes, all of this is good. If you are going to make this game primarily trios, this is stuff you have to do. You have to make it so this game has better tools for, like, actually finding players and getting trios going. That is just how it works. You absolutely have to do it. Because otherwise, it's just not going to work. So, on to the big thing. Now, let me talk about random modifiers. I think I've mentioned a few times before that I wanted to remove them, though I'm not sure if anyone remembers. We do. The current implementation of random modifiers doesn't just contribute to gear disparity, also has a significant impact on readability and the movement speed meta. This means, like, for anyone that doesn't know, this means, like, when you look at somebody and you see their gear, like, the level of their gear, right? How strong they are. He said, then why did you strengthen random modifiers this season? Isn't that the opposite of what you're saying now? So Excuse me. So before I get anything else, let me address that first. As I mentioned earlier, random modifiers were introduced experimentally and have been a core part of the game for a long time, bringing both meaningful impact and many side effects. On the positive side, they provided build variety and increased item value, giving players a reason to keep playing. Of course, we were also well aware of the negative side effects and received plenty of feedback and suggestions about them. Still, I wanted to spend more time working with the system myself to fully understand it. Along the way, we experimented with adjusting the power of random modifiers, sometimes reducing or increasing the stats they provided. Early on, when we lowered their power, we received a lot of negative feedback saying it made farming feel less rewarding and diminished the overall fun of the game. We've long believed that the gear gap, especially how much time it demands of players, was a major issue. However, as I mentioned earlier, rather than tackling the root of that problem, we tried responding by increasing item drop rates or dividing player into gear brackets. Keeping that feedback in mind, I felt that this season, especially with the introduction of Adventure Mode and the highest number of modes and brackets we've ever had, was a good opportunity to test what happened if we made random modifiers stronger. I want to see how players would respond to that. So, quick thing to say. He says this, right? What happened if we made random modifiers stronger? Cool, right? Right here. Along the way, we experimented with adjusting the power of random modifiers, sometimes increasing or reducing or increasing the stats they provided. You've already tested this. You said it literally in two paragraphs ago. You said you tested increasing the stats they provide. So, why are you testing it again? Right? This takes me back to what I talked about, like right up here, wherever it is. This testing that they do here, like it's not like you guys aren't doing meaningful testing. You are being stupid and testing the same stuff over and over and over that you literally have tested before. You're saying it yourself, right? Like, what would happen if we made random modifiers stronger? I don't know. How about we look back at the time we tested it before? What happened then? Oh, it was bad for the game? Cool. And then if you're saying, well, good gear is hard to get, and the gear disparity, it's bad. So we're going to see what happens if we make it even worse. Like, you know what's going to happen. This is dumb to do. Like, so I'm going to say this, is if they are being genuine in this, and these are his genuine ideas and thoughts, and this isn't him just lying and waffling, I don't know what to say. Like, because there's something I'm going to discuss here in a minute that he says that's just ridiculous, right? But okay, moving on. It would also be a good... Okay, oh my god. It would be good to also explain and cover the all attributes and movement speed options while we're at it. Okay, listen, just listen to me here. When I tested the all attribute option multiple times, though it's been a while and my memory is a bit fuzzy, I wanted to verify whether this option gave it a relative advantage, mainly to frontline classes. After conducting several tests, I agreed with the negative feedback and didn't see much necessity for it, so I eventually removed it. Okay, now everybody, just bear with me here. However, over time, I forgot about it, and someone suggested that applying a very small amount of it to certain slots might add some fun, so I decided to try it again. Oh my god, listen to me. When I read this, because I've read this before, when I read this, I was crashing out so hard. The lead dev of Iron Mace, this guy, SDF, Super Druid Fan, super dumb fuck. I forgot. Like, oh, my bad, bro. I didn't realize that you forgot it after you've tried it like 4 times. What do you mean you forgot? Like, what? You forgot about it? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that everything you guys have done is just something you try to have to remember. You don't keep notes of this stuff. All that quote-unquote data you guys are collecting isn't written down somewhere. It's not logged in folders, in files, in a document somewhere to look at. I forgot about it. Cool. That's when you're like, hey guys, have we ever done this before? Do we have any data on this? And if you're first of all, assuming you did that, which you probably didn't because you're a failure, that's what the FNSDF stands for, among other things. You're a failure, so you probably didn't ask anyone that because you're so narcissistic that you believe you can do everything on your own and completely balance this game and make it perfect on your own. Which you did at the beginning was great. Now it's terrible. But anyways, you forgot. How though? How do we do this? And then the whole point is, okay, my whole point about this is, right? Is okay, you tried it again, and then you said, Right here, that said, I've always considered this option to not so much enhance build variety as it simply boosts which simply boosts characters evenly, which in turn only widens the gear gap. Okay, so why didn't you remove it last wipe? Why did it carry on into this wipe? Right? Like, why? Like, okay, we get it. You forgot SDF, right? My bad. Hold on, can't react that. You forgot it. Like, you forgot. We get it. Okay, silly little guy, SDF. He's just a guy. He forgot. All right, great. You tried it for a wipe. You realized it was terrible, and then you left it in for the next wipe. Why didn't we remove it? I don't get it. Like, what's the point here? Like, they say one thing, and then literally right after, they say something else that completely makes the thing they said before, irrelevant. Like when they said, oh, we sometimes we try increasing gear modifiers. Okay, but this wipe we wanted to try to see how it would be if we increased our modifiers again. It's like, why? You've done it before. So why did you say that, and why have you done that if you're just going to do it again? Why did you add all attributes just to remove it, to add it, to remove it, to add it, to remove it, to forget about it for so long that you added it again, said, oh, well, this isn't good, this only widens the gear gap, to leave it in the game? Like, what are we doing? Huh? Alright, anyways. Moving on. I can explain the move speed option simply. Before diving fully into the move speed meta, there was one thing I needed to verify. Clerics who lack range attacks and mobility have generally been a less favored combat class outside their healer role, except during one period of buff ball. They look very helpless when losing to faster classes. This isn't true in trios, by the way. This is not true in trios. They have been incredibly good in trios for a long time, even not considering the healer role. Just in general, they're good. But anyways, whatever. So I want to check if clerics can still perform strongly even without range attacks when given maximum movement speed. To help with this, I also asked good cleric players who have reached the warlord rank in our team. This is just a lie. By the way, I just want to point that this is just not true. I don't know who he's making this up with. I don't know like who in their team is at warlord, but I'm pretty sure like every single season there have been like max like 2 or 3 cleric players in warlord. Maybe there's a couple more. I don't think they have any cleric players that have hit warlord in their team. I do not. And if they are, clearly they're idiots. Yeah, but anyways. This is just also this is stupid. So you decided to break an entire wipe by giving everyone move speed just to test one class? Like, huh? That's like saying next wipe, hey guys, we buffed magical power we buffed true damage to +5 maximum roll because we want to see how good rogue would be with 50 true damage. Good luck, have fun. Like, what? But anyways, moving on. As a result, in mid to level play, combat clerics became very powerful and popular, but at top tier level, there's a little difference. This isn't true. Smite DP cleric became like one of the most like popular things for like a while until people started playing tank rogue. Because tank rogue counters it. But anyways, to put something simply, I want to see how combat would unfold if everyone had 330 move speed. It would be ideal to test all these details internally, but unfortunately, we don't have the capacity for that. Still, we plan to use the test server as much as possible going forward. Once again, I mean, if you have people, you could test this. I'll be real. You could just go in solos, like 5 people, give everybody biscuits with 330 move speed, and you could test this, and you could see this is terrible. Saying you can't or don't have the capacity for that is just not true. I just don't believe it. Anyways, let's turn to the topic of random modifiers. While they are currently removed from the test server, this is just a starting point. We haven't yet decided whether we'll remove them entirely or keep them in another form like the unique items we've experimented. The final decision will be made based on how testing goes on the test server. Our goal is to reserve the advantages while removing or minimizing the downsides. One thing is certain, the final version will not be the same as what currently exists on the live server. So, once this round of testing is complete and the direction is finalized, it will become easier to predict the general capabilities of an opponent based on what they are wearing. Ideally, we'll no longer see fighters wearing full plate armor and be running around extremely fast thanks to stacking move speed on every gear piece. Hey, by the way, SDF, you guys did this. Hey, remember right here? See how a combat would be if everyone had 330 move speed? You did this, man. This was you. You are the reason this happens. Like, don't blame it on us. Don't blame the fighter players. Don't blame me for wearing my gear and building optimally. You know why I do it? Because I got to. I don't want to. I want to be slow. I want to run around with no sprint and use second wind taunt. But I can't. Because if I do, I'm useless and I die. Hell, I'm useless and I die anyways because I play fighter. But that's beside the point. You did this, buddy. Don't blame this on us. Anyways. And based on this new foundation, we'll likely need to go through and retune the abilities of all classes once again. And I expect the item drop rates also need to adjust significantly to make these changes. This right here, once again. Like, hear me out here, and like maybe this sounds crazy, right? Maybe I'm just like, tinfoil hat on, schizo posting. Like, it feels like they are doing everything in their power to not have to make new content. Like, you are now saying, man, guys, because of this thing we're gonna change with our gear that people don't want, we now have to go through and readjust every single class and item drop rates. Like, hey, what about some content? Y'all got any of that? Like, y'all got any content back here behind these useless changes that no one asked for? I mean, 'cause that's what I want, right? Like, maybe. And, anyways, my original vision for items is that gear should be a means to an end, not the end itself. And their value should never be too high. Too many lines on each piece of gear and random modifiers drastically increase the rarity of BIS gear due to excessive RNG. This consumes too much of a player's time, widens the gear gap to the point where you can't compete without investing that time, and inflates gear value, further encouraging RMT. This doesn't mean I want to make everything completely flex 6-9. It means I just means I think things have gone too far. Once again, so like they say things like this, right? They say things like this, but then they add like the uniques that are currently out this wipe. Like, do you know what people are RMTing for? Like, the 4 true damage pieces, the +4 all pieces, the necklaces of peace with +4, like stuff like that, the 8 weapon damage, the 4 weapon damage. That's what's getting RMT'd for. The gear that you guys are inflating. So once again, like, if you are saying this, right? Like, if you are saying you're buffing gear up like this, or like if you keep testing and buffing gear up like this, why are you saying that you don't want to? Like, you can't say, oh, we shouldn't do this, we know this is bad, but we're gonna test it anyways. That's stupid. Like, is there no one that works at Iron Mace that can sit SDF down, look him in the eye, and say, you're dumb? You are dumb. The F in SDF stands for failure, because that is what you are. A stupid, dumb failure. Respectfully. Like, that is, like, I just don't get it. Honestly, the craziest part to me is that he is willing to type these things. Like, at some point in typing it, I feel like he should realize, wait, why am I typing that we're testing this if I'm already typing right before that we just tested it? Like, huh? Like, does he have no, like, awareness of anything that is going on? I don't get it. I really don't. And honestly, like, at this point, based on some of the things he's said, I'm not even trolling this. I genuinely think most of these changes are happening because SDF doesn't keep track of anything and he's just forgetting. Like, whenever, like, it's been, like, 2 wipes and we bring the same thing back that we tested last time, like, Druid buffs, for example, or something like that, I genuinely think SDF is just forgetting about it and he refuses to ask anyone. And I don't know, maybe people there are, like, too scared to tell him or something, but I actually think it's that, like, I think I don't have, like, I have no other explanation. Like, for a lot of the changes, I never had an explanation, now I feel like this is the only one, is that SDF is just forgetting. Like, SDF just has, like, dementia or something. The D in SDF stands for dementia. We have dementia and failure. I don't know what the S stands for, but I mean, I'm sure I can think of some words. But, yeah. Okay, but what I wanted to talk about really here was the gear. So, he said, my original vision for items of the gear should be means to an end, not the end itself, and their value should never be too high. This is dumb. I'm just gonna say it. This is dumb. If your game were designed differently, maybe. Literally, like, 80% of this game is looting and getting gear. If getting good gear isn't why I play the game, why do I? Because I promise you, the combat is not nearly complex or fun enough to get good gear. Or sorry. The complex is not nearly complex or fun enough to make me want to play this game for 4,000 hours like I have. The combat tied with getting good items, and then when I kill people, getting their good items, that is... like, the joy of getting a good piece of gear. That is what keeps me coming back. From killing somebody and looting them and seeing that good piece of gear. Like, yes. That is why fights in this game are fun for me. Because I'm risking, like, oh, like, if I kill these people, I get their gear. If I die, I lose my gear. That is the fun part. This game isn't fun for just the fighting itself. Like, Arena is cool. But if, like, for example, like, let's say Arena didn't have leaderboards. I probably wouldn't play it in the way it's designed. Because I just don't have a point to. I mean, for one, it's not designed that well, and for two, it's like it's just not fun. If I want to play some meaningless PvP game, I have a lot of games I can play for that. This game was better. This game had the looting. Like, when you remove the looting aspect, like, what's the point? Right? And with how gear is on test server, like they said, it might not go all the way there. Like, having gear with no modifiers is just boring. Like, oh, cool, nice, I have purple reinforced gloves, my BIS, I'm just in full purple gear, and I have, like, no stats. And, like, that's the thing. Like, let me tell you guys this. Like, removing all the random modifiers, it is not, like... it hurts some classes a lot more than others. Like, if they do that, let me tell you, tanks are going to be the most broken thing ever. Like, Fighter Barbarian literally will not be killable. Rogues will never kill them. Rangers will never kill them. It just won't happen. Clerics the same way. Clerics gonna be insane. Wizards, like, they're gonna be terrible. Warlock, you're gonna. Oh my God, Warlock. Yeah, you are useless. Like, you are just garbage. Your only magical healing is gonna come from your whatever, like your helmet and your gloves. You're gonna have to have the occultist hood on or whatever it's called, and then your mystic gloves. Clerics are gonna be healing for nothing. You know what's gonna be OP? Druid. Druid's gonna be super OP because it like loves base stats and its healing doesn't really kill with magic healing. But like this just isn't good. Like if you do this, I like genuinely think like if they go forward with this gear change, it will kill the game. Like I said, this is something they've done before during like patch like 69, I think it was, when they equalized the gear. Like the game was just terrible, right? Like the game was just horrible. Like it literally had like a ginormous drop in players after like the first like 2 days when people played it because like wow, this is not fun. And then I cannot imagine playing this game for 3-month wipe or a 4-month wipe where I have no desire to get gear, where my stash is just full of just purple items that have no rolls on them, right? It wouldn't be fun. It would not be. But yeah, like I said, like I'm at the point where I just don't know anymore. Like before I read some of this stuff, maybe I still had a little hope, but when SDF said that he just straight up forgot and that's why they added back in plus all, I mean I kind of lost like the last inkling of hope that I had. But yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't know what they're doing this game at this point. I really don't. I think the gear, I think this change to the gear is not something that is good. Like I don't think gear diff is like a leading factor of this game dying, and I don't think spending this much time and effort on it is why people aren't gonna play. You should be spending like, or if it is, have a percentage of your people doing this while the other people are like, you should have like, this should be like a side thing. Like, rebalancing gear should be a slow, gradual thing. When you come out next wipe and all my gear has, like, 0 modifiers, like, I'm gonna crash out, and it's gonna be sad. Right? If anything, what you could do is you could just change how gear works. Like, instead of having legendaries that have, like, 4 rolls, or, whatever like that, you could just lower the amount. Lower it so they have, like, 2, or purples have 2, or something like that. I don't know. There are a lot of ways you can do this. Don't kill gear, though. Killing gear just effectively kills this game. That's why people play it. But yeah, with that being said, it's gonna wrap it up for me. It's already been kind of a long video. I actually didn't expect this video to end up being that long, but I mean, I guess I talked about a lot in here. But yeah, I'll have to sleep for tomorrow. I will deliver other topics later. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I don't really know what to say. I'm at the point where I think this game may just be cooked. Like the player base is already abysmally low. I know the game had, I think the game had like 8K players online yesterday. We still have another like month for the wipe or something. Or 2, I don't even know. But, yeah. It's gonna wrap it up for me, boys. Appreciate you guys for being here. I'll catch y'all later. Peace, peace.